Welcome everyone. In this video, I'm going to show you how to unblock your second or sacral chakra, and we're also going to go in depth on what the sacral chakra is, symptoms of the imbalance, what it looks like when it's balanced, and more importantly, things you can do to foster it opening and to heal it. Let's get started. The sacral chakra, the Svadhisthana, otherwise translated as my own sweet abode or sweetness. There's a couple of different translations for this word. Now, as with all chakras, most of our hang-ups about if they're open or closed come from childhood. They come from traumatic events, whether in childhood or as an adult. And ultimately, a lot of it is karma. You know, nature versus nurture. Well, karma falls under nature. You know, I believe in that we are souls that reincarnate in different lifetimes to learn different lessons. And if you want the truth of it, time doesn't really exist, and we are actually incarnating in all of our lifetimes simultaneously. So they're more like parallel now lives than past and future lives. But in this perspective, in this 3D universe, we look at it through a linear time lens. So in any case, karma falls under nature, where you are born in a certain configuration. You know, you're born with a certain loose framework, like a video game, like a level, and you're born with a certain class and abilities, and you get to move around this level with free will within the framework and do what you want, and the level will reorganize itself around you. Well, part of this is our chakra configurations. So every chakra, from the root all the way to the crown, your karma, your past lifetime lessons, actions you've taken, etc., all fall into this as to how your chakras look in this life. So this is where we can, we could have had a perfectly normal childhood, be trauma-free, but still have a blocked chakra or two because of past lives and things like that. Now, the sacral chakra is responsible for primarily sexuality, but also our emotional expression. It's the second chakra. Its color is orange, as you see here, and its element is water. So the root chakra was earth. Now the sacral is water. Now, when your sacral chakra is imbalanced, again, it's primarily the sexual and emotional center. So that's where you're going to see the majority of the imbalance. You'll see in sexuality, you'll see either way too much sex, like sex addiction, overindulgence, the hitting that pleasure button over and over again. And you'll also see that in not enough. That's where you get like those puritanical views. That's where maybe you're ashamed of your sexuality. Maybe there was trauma and you don't want to connect with that. That's what happened with me. I've had sexual trauma in my life as a child, and I didn't understand the effect that it had on me. But as I got into my teenage years and in my early adult years, I was still a virgin until my early 20s. And every time I got into that scenario, I would just shut down. And I didn't understand what was going on until I was in a safe enough place that I could remember and process that trauma and understand that, oh, that's why I'm so hung up on it, because I haven't dealt with all this baggage I've got from when I was a kid, And once I fixed that and I went deep and I healed that, it really did help my sacral chakra. And now I have, I may be leaning towards the too much end of things now, As you correct from one end of the spectrum, normally we overcorrect until we find balance. Anyway, imbalance in emotion, so emotional instability, whether you're having too much emotion or not enough. Remember, law of polarity. Everything exists on a spectrum of way too much on one end and not enough on the other. You can have lower back pain because remember, the positioning of the sacral chakra is about 2 inches down from your navel, your belly button, and in the center of your body. But it's an energy. Think about it like, I know they're called wheels or discs, but think about them like energy spheres. So the sphere is at the in the center of the body, 2 inches from the navel. Well, that lines up right with lower back issues. Hypoglycemia is another one of the medical conditions that can be caused by an imbalanced sacral chakra. You can have issues with intimacy in general, whether you're using sex to cover emotional intimacy, or you just can't have emotional intimacy, or the other side of the spectrum, where you're someone who just, you meet someone and you just cling on them and it's 100% emotional giving and you're not getting that back. You're kind of like, rawr, and I was in that boat too for a while as part of my imbalanced sacral chakra. Well, that's, too much emotional intimacy, you're forcing it, versus letting a natural balance go. The sacral chakra is also responsible for our creativity. So if you're having a lack of creativity or creative expression, that can be a sign. Repression of any of these things, sexuality, emotionality, creativity. Escapism, if you're escaping your emotions with drugs, and other things like that. Food, if food is a drug, like anything else, then that's a sign. And again, the overgiving of affection. So that's what it looks like when it's imbalanced. Now, when it's in balance, when it's actually balanced, then you have a healthy sex life, right? Where we are engaging in sexual intercourse. We're engaging in that energy in a healthy way. Not too much, not too little, you know. We have healthy relationships that are balanced. We have a healthy expression of intimacy. You know, think about the tarot, like the Justice card. Things are in balance. Six of Pentacles, things are in balance. Not overgiving and not undergiving. Our creativity is being expressed and is balanced. We are balanced emotionally. We have healthy boundaries in our relationships. You know, healthy boundaries that respect ourselves while respecting other. We're not overgiving and we're not, you know, and we're not allowing someone else to overgive to us. And we have a healthy expression and feeling of pleasure and joy in our lives. Now, so that's the overview of the sacral chakra. And now for the juice. Now for what you can do if you have or may think you have and you know, a blocked or you have things going on, traumas and stuff in your sacral chakra. Now, as with all chakras, it's going to help tremendously to work through your childhood trauma. If you haven't done any of that, if you haven't done any inner child healing, if you haven't looked at any childhood trauma where you haven't processed any of what's going on within you, you know, you've got to feel those things to heal them. And the main step in that is becoming aware, you know, becoming aware and bringing out of the darkness and into the light all the different traumas and hangups that we have, you know, processing those memories, processing those traumas. And that's going to help. Normally, when you go through that, you clean up a lot of the chakras, mostly the bottom three, the root, the sacral, and the solar plexus. That's where trauma will usually sit. A lot of times your throat chakra can get caught with trauma too, because you can't speak. You can't express yourself because you've been, you know, locked down. Your heart can also get messed up a little bit too, but usually it's the bottom three. So that's where we need to do things like the shadow work, inner child healing. And if you get into it, you know, if you get through all of that and you're still finding you're stuck in places, that's where it might be ancestral trauma. It may be trauma that's been propagated dozens and dozens of generations down your line. And every person has the opportunity to stop that flow from going to the next generation, turning, facing it head on, processing it and healing it. And we're going to make videos about that. I'm still researching the topic because I want to make sure I am completely knowledgeable and versed on it before, you know, I presume to get up here and tell you about it. So I always research all this stuff like a lot before I bring it to you guys. But working on that is, you know, every chakra, start with the childhood trauma. That's going to be the easiest, largest thing that you can, not easiest, but the largest effect that you can have on yourself. Because all this stuff is great, but this is kind of like, you know, light to medium work as far as what it's going to do for you. Working on that childhood trauma, the shadow work, the inner child healing, that is where the real juice is. That's where you're going to get the most work. And then the rest of this kind of comes in to clean up the debris that's left. So now, as you know, in each of these videos, we talk about what crystals, because again, crystals resonate. Crystals have frequencies. Okay, crystals have different minerals and materials in them, and they resonate at different frequencies. And I've been learning from the law of vibration. Vibrations attract like vibrations. So here we're looking for crystals that carry the color, because what is color but a light vibration? The color of orange. So any crystals that have orange in them are going to be great. So here we're looking at things like amber, carnelian. Carnelian I like a lot. Carnelian a lot of times is a mixture of red and orange. So carnelian and yellow. It's kind of a mixture of all three of those. What is orange, red, and yellow? Carnelian, in my opinion, is great for the bottom three chakras altogether. If you're strapped for cash, just get some carnelian. Make sure it's legitimate. Again, go to an actual crystal shop. If you're gonna do it online, not from Amazon, this is the one thing you don't want to get from Amazon. You want to go to a dedicated crystal shop online. Carnelian will help all three of your base chakras: the root, the sacral, and the solar plexus. Carnelian can help you with making money. Carnelian can help you with your self-confidence and your power, and carnelian can help you with feeling safe. So if there was one that I'd recommend to anybody, it's getting some carnelian. Hematite is good. Hematite is also good as a grounding crystal. It can help you to ground your energy, and it also has a little bit of a protective value to it, as in protecting you and shielding you from external influences. You can have calcite orange, which I haven't even heard of until this video. I've only heard of calcite, but calcite does come in different colors, so. And then another great one would be tiger's eye, but specifically tiger's eye that is of a golden color, because that will help you. Golden color will match with not only the sacral, but also up into the solar plexus. And that's going to be all about your confidence and your self-power. So I recommend these. And again, like I said in the root chakra video, and check that out if you haven't seen it on our channel, there's lots of ways you can work with crystals. You can get them in a ring, simply have them on a ring, because again, they're a vibration, right? So their vibration creates a sphere of energy. a sphere of a wave of energy. And by wearing it on a ring, for example, you're allowing it to be in your energy field. You can get it on an amulet or a necklace. You can even put it in your pocket. Like for me, sometimes I have neck issues, and I have to stop talking about that because I'm writing that back into my reality. But in the past, I've had those issues, so wearing a necklace wasn't good for me because it would irritate these things. So I even put them in my pocket. You know, because again, they're spheres of energy, so they don't have to be in one place or another. I carry mine in my pocket sometimes. Not the same pocket as the phone. Some of them can scratch your screen. They're stones, you know. But anyway, you can wear them. You can also do a meditation with the crystal. So, you know, put the crystal in your hand. Put the crystal in your hand over your heart. And take some deep breaths. I'm uncovering the microphone. Take some deep breaths. And psychically communicate with the crystal. Make a link to that energy. You know, bridge those two energies. And ask that crystal, hey, you know, can you help me balance out my sacral chakra? You know, can you use your energy, and you can even put it over the chakra if you want, hold it over here. Can you please help me, you know, work with this energy and connect psychically with the energy and merge your energy with that of the crystal. Now, before you do work like that, it's going to be important to cleanse your crystals. A simple way to cleanse your crystals is just to run them under tap water. That's the running water will help to kind of cleanse and clear energy. You can also use the wind. If you go outside and it's a very windy day, letting the wind blow over your crystal will also cleanse. Now, instead of water, we're using air. You can use earth. You can put it in the ground, you know, and leave it in the ground for a day and go back and get it the next day because it has been grounding, you know. You really can't use fire in a way, and you don't want to necessarily put them through fire, so we'll leave fire out of it. But there's a way to use earth, wind, and air. And then as far as recharging crystals or just charging them in general, 99% of all magic is intention. But when it comes to a full moon night, the night that is a full moon, put your crystals out that night. You can leave them on your back porch or whatever, and leave them out. Put them out like maybe when the sun goes down, and leave them until the morning and go get them. What's happening is as that full moon comes out, and the full moon is just bathing the earth in all of its might and its energy, those crystals will absorb the energy. And plant them there and say a quick prayer and a meditation that, you know, may you charge fully with the energies of the full moon, you know, and may your batteries be filled, and may you be cleansed, you know. So cleanse it first, then charge it, and then use it, and you're going to get the most benefit. But we're going to make a separate video all about crystals, and we're going to go deep on that. But that's just a couple tips for you. Now, exercises. What are the things we can actually do? Like, crystals are great, but like, you know, Lance, crystals are great, but like, what can I do to help open this chakra up? Well, I'm glad you asked. Play like a child. So the sacral chakra is all about our joy, you know, ultimately, because like sex, pleasure, all that good stuff, that all funnels down ultimately to a feeling, a base emotion of joy. And when children are playing and they're unencumbered by their minds or trauma or anything else, they are just free-form, joyful energy. So playing like a child is a way to go, like building the sandcastle and knocking it down, not being attached to what you're doing, you know, moving from one thing to another, engaging your creativity and your imagination, right? Processing your emotions in a healthy way. When what this means is when you experience emotions you don't like, instead of turning away, closing your eyes, instead of the old adage of just keep shoving it down, it'll be fine. Like, no, we want to become aware. When you're processing strong emotions, if you have the ability to, you want to sit or lay down, close your eyes, and just breathe. We're not meditating, we're just breathing, and we're going to become intensely aware of the emotion. We need to feel what's coming up. Doesn't matter what the label is. Doesn't matter if there's a story behind it. Drop the story. Sometimes it's useful to work through the story because that can help you to better process it. But you don't need to know the story, I guess. Don't worry if you're like, I have all this anger, I don't know where it came from. You don't have to have a story. Just start working with that, right? Work with that emotion. And how do we work with it? By being aware of it, by feeling it. We have to feel it to heal it. We have to feel it to reintegrate it. And you can also do grounding techniques like we did in the root chakra. And you can look that up or just go watch that video. There's a good grounding meditation technique in there. But basically just you want to have your intention of, I am grounding, I am sending this energy down into Mother Earth. My roots grow deep into the earth and I'm just pumping this energy out. And what I'm doing physically here, this motion will help your energy to move. Yep, and then up, and then, it's like Tai Chi and Qigong. They do movements to help move the energy through your body. Again, every single chakra is going to have this one. Barefoot in nature. We want to ground our feet into Mother Earth. We want to do that reflexology. You know, the bottom of the feet represents the whole body. Everything is connected there, and we can ground a lot of those heavy metals out. We can ground a lot of that excess energy we've got into the earth. And then not only that, then the earth will fill us back up with its own pure energy. Now, when it comes to like actual exercises, you can do cobra pose in yoga. So cobra pose, you're gonna lay flat on the floor, you know, face down, flat on the floor. You're gonna put your hands right underneath your shoulders, and then you're gonna come up like a cobra, making sure that you're keeping your pelvis attached to the floor, attached to the ground. You can do this outside, it'd be great to help you ground. You can also do seated pelvic circles, and that's where you sit cross-legged, and you're gonna essentially move your pelvis while you're seated, you know, a couple times in one direction, a couple times in the other direction. And you see these exercises, we are focusing on that pelvic area. We're focusing where that chakra is. And every chakra has a vibration. Every chakra has a sound. And in chanting that sound, you can help to attune, align, and begin to open that chakra. So the chanting sound for the second sacral chakra is Vwam, V-W-A-M. So think Wam, but put a V in front of it, so Vwam. It's almost, and as I was doing this mantra earlier when I was researching this video, it almost sounds like, you know, you make a kiss, it's like mwah, Vwam. It's kind of interesting that it's the same mwah, Vwam. It's the same mouth movement, and that's related to like, you know, that kissing emotion and that intimacy. So it's kind of interesting. But you can just sit, you know, any way you choose to do it. Vwam, 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 Vwam. Or you could do a longer form. Vwam, 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 Vwam. And if you go on YouTube and just search for Vwam or chanting Vwam, there's videos where they'll have people chanting it in the background with music, and you can just follow along. It helps to really get you immersed in that energy. So it's just Vwam, Vwam, Vwam. And while you're doing it, imagine that orange sacral chakra just opening and opening and opening and opening and just being brighter and brighter and brighter. Vwam, 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 Vwam. And you can do that, you know, 5 minutes a day or something. And that's probably the most powerful thing you can do for it. And then, as always, some affirmations we can do to help work with that. We could do these affirmations in the morning when we wake up. You know, you don't have to repeat them a million times, but just when you wake up, say it once in the morning. You know, like when I wake up, I say, you know, Spirit, you know, angels, guides, I'm so grateful and thankful for this wonderful day. You know, I'm so grateful for this joyful, you know, joyous day. And I'm so grateful to be alive and to be awake. And I'm so happy and joyful. Like, that's the kind of energy I foster, that joy and abundance and gratitude in the morning. But I say it a couple times and then I go on with my day. You know, if you're waiting in line at the grocery store, you can say in your mind, I allow my creativity to flow freely. I allow, you know, we're giving ourselves permission. I allow my creativity to flow freely. And this is also a present moment affirmation. We don't want to use affirmations that are future based. We want to bring them into the present as much as possible, because then you're always becoming and never being. Same with this. I am safe to express my sexuality. I am safe. I am safe is just a good one to say in general, but, and not in a way of like, I'm safe, you know, but I am so safe. I am safe to express my sexuality. And anytime you're doing any of these exercises with the purpose of working with that sacral chakra, what you want to do is simultaneously visualize the color orange, visualize that sacral chakra within yourself just opening and opening and becoming brighter and brighter with that color. Make that psychic connection. You know, it's all, like I said, magic is 99.99% intention. Any magic of any kind. So visualize, you know, your mind, your brain, and your heart coming together, you know, and then visualize that connection going down to that sacral chakra and just opening and opening and opening and opening. And as you start opening and opening, things may start to bubble up. Why? Because in order for this thing to open brighter and brighter, some of the debris that's in that chakra needs to be swept away. And when the debris gets swept away, it has to be processed by the body, whether it grounds or whether it comes up into our mind as feelings and thoughts and traumas. And we have to experience that. We have to feel that to heal it. So as we're opening, we may feel these things coming up, and that's okay. We're going to want to go ahead and just clean that and just keep working on it. And it doesn't have to happen today. It could take months. It could take a year, you know, for you to really get this open. And, you know, unless you're a fully enlightened being, you know, all 7 chakras will never be fully wide open, because again, you would be, you'd be the Dalai Lama, you would be the Maharaj, you would be the guru at that point. So, there's always going to be some little hangups we've got here and there, and that's fine, but we just want to work towards the direction of creating that velocity of we're opening. Our intention is to open these chakras, to heal them, to get them into a more functional state. They don't have to be 100% lighthouse beaming open every day, because you wouldn't want to live like that. I mean, you wouldn't have the juice to maintain that. So we just want to work slowly on opening them. And then when you finish, conclude with, may my sacral chakra be open to what's a healthy limit for me, like a healthy space for me, a healthy amount for me, for where I'm at. That way we're not trying to just rip it open. We're just trying to gently open it up. It's like when you're stretching, you don't stretch by just like wrenching your stuff over, right? You do what's comfortable. And the same with these, we want to comfortably open them. All right, my friends. Well, that is the sacral chakra. We told you all about it. And more importantly, we gave you practical things that you can do in your life right now to open it. So if it's something you feel called to do, here's the instructions. We're going to continue the chakra series, and the next one's going to be solar plexus, and we're working our way up. And it's all going to be the same information, all about it, how to open it, how to work with it. I hope you guys choose to make it a great day, and we'll see you next time. Peace.